Hey everyone. Before we get into this episode, I wanted to take a moment to share something important. The following conversation was recorded shortly before Jeni's tragic and unexpected passing. Her openness, warmth, and honesty during our talk meant so much, and I'm incredibly grateful that we got to share that time together. With the blessing of her family, I'm honored to release this episode in her memory. This isn't just a conversation about high school or the past. It's a chance to hear Jeni's voice, her perspective, and her spirit as she reflected on life and the journey she was on. Jeni, we thank you so much for this moment with us. This one's for you. Welcome to the Cooler Conversations podcast, the audio culmination of cool stories and the coolest people. If you're new to the podcast, welcome. If you're not so new, welcome back. And if I'm welcoming you back, please be sure to leave a review. Hit us up on all the social media platforms. You know the drill. It's just like every other podcast. Today is a continuation of the fun little series I've been working on, where I've been interviewing everybody from the class of 2010, the senior superlatives. Today's guest was voted Best Personality. I think we're going to definitely live up to that. Today, I am joined by Jeni Strickland. How are you doing, Jeni?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. Thank you again for being on the pod. It's definitely been a long time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm very excited about it. But it has been, like you said, 15 years. That's quite some time.
It's insane. I've been telling people it's definitely been, if you break it down to what we were, because we were like 18 when we graduated, it's been 50, we're completely different humans. It's been complete, like an entire generation of time has passed since then. I guess the way I wanted to start the podcast is let's go back to 2010. What was your high school career like? What were you doing? What sports were you playing? What activities? Where was your mind?
So, senior year, I was cheering at school. I did dance outside of school. I actually randomly decided in spring of senior year that I was going to try track out. And ironically, I ended up really enjoying it. And I felt like I did pretty well in it for it to be my only year. Other than that, I competed cheerleading outside of school, and I worked with our Special Olympics cheerleading team, coaching them and teaching and assisting dance classes at my dance studio. So I felt like I stayed pretty busy with just all the activities I had going on. I know a big one too for me personally. I was involved in a scholarship like pageant program, which I guess could be considered like a hobby. North Carolina, it's actually the whole United States, but I just competed at North Carolina's competition representing Alamance County, and that competition was actually for young women, seniors. We competed to gain scholarships and stuff for different categories that we competed in, so that was another big focus and I guess hobby I had going on senior year.
Okay. So have you continued any of the pathways or hobbies that you had back then, or have you any that you veered away, or has it been like a complete shift in directory?
For a little bit after high school, I did some small pageants and stuff like that, mainly just because I enjoyed the atmosphere and environment of doing it. I did thoroughly enjoy, getting to dress up, getting to present a talent and stuff, working on my speaking and interview, I guess, skills that were necessary, things like that. But that was only for a few years. And actually, since I remember, I automatically jumped into coaching all-star cheerleading right after high school. And I was able to still compete for an additional year because of when my birthday was. But I continued coaching, for another 5 or 6 years. And then within the past 5 years, I got into judging that all-star cheerleading level. So I've jumped back into it here recently. as well as jumping back into some work in the dance studio, going in and helping clean up routines and stuff for competitive dance teams and whatnot. So here recently, again, the past few years, I've gotten to jump back into those things that I enjoyed. And I've really, really mainly focused on the judging, like big time. I am very excited. I actually get to go judge at All Star Worlds this April, so next month.
Wow.
For cheerleading, and I'm really looking forward to that. To me, that's a huge accomplishment and a huge step, and I think kind of shows how much I jumped back into it and my dedication for it. But very excited about it, and I guess I could say I'm also kind of nervous. That's a big thing. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
That's pretty awesome. The reason I bring that up is I'm kind of like fascinated by this concept. I read it in an article on how like millennials who are in their 30s and late 40s, they're jumping back into these hobbies that they were really proficient in their like teens, and then life, that 20s, early 30s, like those times just take it away because you're working, you have other things going on, but then you find your muse again because you find time for it. So it's always interesting to see what people grow attached to. Like me, obviously, with swimming, you going back into like the dance and cheer, as well as like just being a different side of it, whether it's like coaching or stuff. So it's interesting to me to see like the shift almost into like mentor role, or just engaging that muse again.
Right. No, yeah. I completely agree with you. And I think kind of like jumping off of that too, you see people that were athletic in high school and they shifted gears a little bit, really focusing on like, I don't know if it's the right term or not, but bulking up in the gym and even doing like the body building competitions. I know CrossFit, I think, is that something you're into, CrossFit?
A past life, but yeah.
So things like that, like finding something that is similar to what happened in high school, but building off of it and expanding that hobby and activity into something greater or more, for sure.
Yeah. For anyone who's listening, this is what adulthood is exactly like, especially when you have kids who are wanting loving attention from their mother.
I'm going to grab him real quick and see if that helps out, maybe. I'm sorry.
Go for it.
Okay. All right. There we go. Okay. So, yeah, that kind of building off of that too, at this point, I guess some millennials, not all obviously, but we are also in the stage of parenthood to where now our children are getting into these hobbies and stuff. I know my 8-year-old is I have 2 sons, and the sports I obviously listed are more predominantly female sports. I never personally was interested in the I don't know the correct term, sports though, with like, golly, basketball, baseball, and stuff like that. That was
Like
never
contact sports almost.
Thank you. Yeah. That was never my thing. And, so with my oldest son, we actually kind of motivated him to try outside of the norm activities. So I remember putting him in boxing. Gosh, what else? We tried to get him interested in dirt bike racing, things like that. And of course, when he got to be the age of like 4 and 5 years old, he saw, classmates and stuff doing T-ball and whatnot like that. And that's what he chose he wanted to do. So we were like, okay, we're giving this a shot, of course. And he found his fairly quickly. That's what his is. He's, in baseball. So now I guess I do try to focus my understanding and expanding my knowledge on that now. And I have found now that I do find that interesting as a parent. Not personally, I don't want to necessarily play myself, but just expanding that for the sake of our children, I think too, for those millennials who do have children.
Absolutely.
Because I know it is in that age.
Absolutely. It's yeah, it's definitely it's all I mean, think about it too. It's also cool to see like the push for competition. Like obviously you guys have different sports, but it's a different drive or it's the same
Oh, yeah.
drive, different sport almost.
Yeah. And oh my golly. I think too, a big shift I've noticed is we as our age group, we were kind of in the midst of doing, everybody got a participation trophy and stuff like that. And that's been a
Yeah.
big debate and hot topic. And I want to say issue here over the past, I
Hmm.
guess, 10, 15 years. And I feel like now there is more of a shift back to um, the adults, I guess, being more pushing kids more towards, no, it's not always just about participation. It is about, bettering yourself and
Hmm.
competing and whatnot. I think I've at least noticed that shift, at least in the sports that I have experience in. So like the baseball and cheerleading, I have noticed that.
I didn't even think about like the amount of shift in ideologies. Like you're right. We had a lot of participation awards for better or for worse. I can't say
Mhm.
much. I just got a participation trophy for basically doing the swim meet for the past weekend. But there is a great shift towards meritocracy. Getting everything based on your merits. So it's interesting seeing a complete different shift in ideologically. It's the first time I've even thought about that. I've been leaning more towards on like the shift in like technological advances, which we can get into, and
Oh yeah,
changes
that too
there.
for sure.
But it's kind of funny to think about it. It didn't even dawn on me. Um, Going back into WAHS, we went over sports and everything. What were you listening to? What trends were you into? How did that? Where did you put yourself?
Oh my golly. I think like most people in high school, I definitely had Lil Wayne on my playlist. And
Now
I'm
an
pretty
artist so far.
sure 95% of us still have that as a top artist on our playlist.
Hmm.
um, I I had a wide variety of music that I was listening to. Like I said, I was big into him. I was a huge Rihanna fan. I remember begging my best friend Hannah Church, actually at the time, right after high school, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go to her concert. She was in Greensboro, and we were
Hmm.
like within the first few rows because I was that diehard of a
Wow.
Rihanna fan. And I'm one of the ones who's, upset she's not making music, but of course she's successful in many other aspects. So,
Yeah.
I did like Jason Aldean, Luke Bryan. Um, I also randomly liked, I don't know if you've heard of the band System of a Down. Um,
Sounds
there
familiar.
was it's if you look it up, you would definitely notice it's probably not anywhere related to any of the song like types of artists I just mentioned, everything.
Hmm.
But very wide variety. And I think a big reason for that was, you know, I did dance, so I did hear different types of music, and my dance instructor was definitely old school, so I definitely heard a lot of old school music and stuff too with her.
Yeah.
So we were still dancing to like Whitney Houston and stuff back in
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
2000s, so different things like that. What else? I'm sorry, I know you asked music. What
Yeah,
else?
music, movies, styles. It's funny because I was just talking to somebody, and I guess bell bottoms are back in style, and then the shorts with
Yeah.
the cargo, everything's coming back.
Oh no, not cargo shorts. No. I think I've seen where plaid shorts might be coming back too, which
Oh
is very
my God.
unfortunate. But style wise, I of course, like everyone else, followed the styles. What were we doing? I remember wearing tube tops with tank tops underneath because school
Hmm.
rules, of course.
Yeah.
Um,
Pop
gosh,
collars,
yeah.
everything.
The animal print with like hot pink. So like I remember zebra stripes, and the hot pink was a
Yeah.
big thing for, the dresses specifically for prom and stuff. I will say I personally stayed away from that up until senior year. I did have a cheetah print dress senior year. I gave in to the
Oh my
fad. And
Lord.
looking back now, I wish I wouldn't have. But, We all did it. So,
You say that,
that
and then in 15 years, people are going to be wearing cheetah print again, and then it's
I
just going
know.
to cycle through.
It does. Isn't it insane how to notice it as an adult now? I remember hearing it from our parents, them saying when we were younger,
Mhm.
oh, history repeats itself, style repeats itself. We used to wear
Yeah.
stuff like this. And then now that we are the adults, it's true. It does cycle. Like we are always re-wearing it again.
Do you feel like time has moved faster or slower since graduation?
So what is the saying that the days are slow, but the years are fast? That definitely, I think that's right. See
I'm
now,
trying to
the
think. For some
thing
reason, I
you
keep thinking of
made
like
me
a
question
Smash
if it
Mouth
was.
song.
Um, Time definitely moves slow on a day-to-day basis. There are
Hmm.
days where it drags by, like, oh my golly, this day's never going to end. But the overall aspect of time, it definitely has moved a lot quicker. There's times where I guess I look back and I'll be like, oh my golly, I didn't accomplish enough. It's been a whole year, I haven't accomplished what I wanted to, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
So, it's a big mix for me. The days, like day to days, move a lot slower now. I think
Yeah.
maybe see, even that one's up for debate because even there's some days where it's like there's not enough time in the day. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I guess I could say the hard days move slow, and of course the good days move way too fast. But overall, month to month basis and a year to year basis, that time has flown by for some reason. Like
Yeah.
it's hard to believe, like you said, it's been 15 years. I look back and I can't believe, my youngest is 4 years old now. Just things like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely travel way too fast now.
I always think about like what our teachers were like, putting myself in their shoes, who are like 30, 40 years old, dealing with these, hotshot kids, think that the world is theirs. And then, I remember, I can't remember the specific teacher, but you hear them, you're like, it's going to catch up to you. It's going to catch up to you. And you're just like, no, what are you talking about? You crazy. So kind of leaning into like that direction. Are there any things that you're nostalgic about? I do say millennials are some of the most nostalgia baited like generation of all time.
Oh yeah, for sure. I would definitely agree with that. When you ask, I'm sorry. So can you kind of explain what you were asking exactly about that? I apologize.
So nostalgia. So they say that we're some of the most nostalgia ridden or nostalgia baited generation. And the reason I think they say that is if you look at like the content, it's 90s kids remember. It's like let's
Mhm.
rehash all these things versus like other generations, which to be fair, it could be that we're the one of the first generations who've had the technology, so we get
Yeah.
to look back on it.
Yeah.
But they say that we live in the past consistently. Do you have thought of that? I can kind of agree with it. There's definitely things where I'll search up just to get like a quick dopamine hit that's from like 2010. But do you agree with that anyway, or do you just feel what's the past is the past, going on with
Um,
life?
I think part of that, I think the reason that they say we do that so much is partially because we're the first generation, like you said, that did not and then did have access to the internet. So we are still part of, social media and stuff like that, to be
Hmm.
honest. So, I mean, in my opinion, yes, previous generations, Gen X and stuff like that, they live in their past to an extent, but they can't or they don't express it as often, I guess, as we do in the
Hmm.
same ways that we do, since most of them are not on social media, I would say, like we are. But yeah, at the same time, I would agree. We probably are. We do not live in the past. We compare a lot of things. But again, I feel like that's history repeating itself. I remember our parents saying it to us, oh, we did that too. Oh, that, the tune for that song originated from this song, things like
Hmm.
that. And the reason we probably seemingly so much live in the past is because it was just such a good time back then,
Yeah.
honestly. you know.
It's funny. I say this and I just self-analyze myself It's like we live in the past, and then I'm doing a podcast with people from 2010 class high school.
That is true, and you've got a good point there.
Self slam.
Yeah, okay, so you are kind of proving the point of it. But in comparison to that, though, we are still discussing, I guess, in present times, comparing, present times and whatnot as well. And, you definitely have to remember and discuss history to be able to, like, have and create a future. So it's a positive thing for sure. 1,000%.
Do you have any advice that you wish you was given to you, or just advice that you would give yourself walking those Western Alamance halls?
Not everybody is going to like you. Not everybody's going to like you, and there's not much you can do about that. Except just be, who you're supposed to be. And I don't know. I feel like that kind of ties into, you brought up my superlative was best personality and stuff like that. And I mean, I felt like I really liked the majority of people, or at least I tried to. I really wanted to be friends, or at least good, at a good place with everybody. And back then, regardless of how things happened, and it was an issue on both ends. So it's not saying I was never at fault, but very good. But learning that, doesn't matter. There's people that you're not going to like always and aren't always going to like you. And that should not impact your experience, I think, because high school's already crazy and stressful enough as it is, for sure,
Yeah.
And majority of these people, I remember our parents saying it too, you are not going to talk to these people again. The ones that you do talk to are the ones you talk to for life, and the ones that you don't, it's not going to matter.
On a podcast and
except the ones you randomly jump on a podcast with, in 15 years from now. Yeah, that's about it. And that's a rare occurrence, though. So, but a good one for sure. Something I'm enjoying.
The funny thing I think about is you're absolutely right. It's different strokes for different folks. The drama never ends. The drama doesn't leave when you graduate high school. It's the same drama throughout the world, but it's how you approach it. Like, you do not need to be liked by half the people that you know. Who cares? They're not in your circle. You don't talk to them on a daily basis. So it actually is more freeing because you don't have that drama to deal with like we did in high school, because you're just internalizing everything.
Right. I will say that's a positive. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's definitely something. That's the level of maturity you get when you and there's still little bits where you get like a little, the little monster in your head. It's like, ooh, what's that person think about me? But it's like, who cares? Who cares what they thought about you on Facebook?
Yeah.
They'll forget about it in a week.
Yeah, I will agree. But it is also, like you said, much easier when you're not surrounded by those people on a daily basis. Made it a lot easier to forget, oh, this person doesn't like me, or, oh, I don't like certain things, how they're behaving and stuff like that, if that makes sense, when you're not interacting it. So, I mean, I will say that is hard, especially for being at that teenage age. That is hard because, all your hormones, my golly, you're so focused on wanting to be liked. I think the feeling of wanting to be liked and loved at that age is so crucial because of just everything that's changing, at that time for you, like internally.
Absolutely. This is a new question I just thought. Is there a course or a class you wish I'm going to do both, that you wish you paid more attention in, and one that you wish you didn't pay as much?
I'm not going to lie. I don't remember half of them.
I'm the same. Okay.
I remember I took foods. I took foods class, and, maybe I should have paid better attention to that because I, as an adult, dislike cooking. I think that's a millennial thing too. Either you love cooking, like I know you said you had Kirby on here, and I think he and his wife love to cook. Like,
Yeah.
They're big into it. And then opposite of the spectrum, are people like me. I despise it. I don't want to. Now I will say I'm not one of those door dashers or anything either. Actually, I don't door dash or anything like that. I just despise cooking. So maybe should have paid better attention to that. I might have learned to enjoy it a little bit more.
Hmm.
Possibly not. Definitely should have paid better attention to those advanced math classes. Because I did end up needing a few of them just for the sake of my college courses. So I ended up struggling some, not because I'd use it long term. I don't think I use pre-calculus at all now for
Yeah.
sure. Basic edition, yeah.
It's funny. They spout, for good intention. They had no idea what it was going to come, but they tell you there's not going to be a calculator in your pocket at all times. You're going to need to show your work, and
Uh-huh.
meanwhile, we have this
Yeah.
baby
I'm sorry, there's
supercomputer.
not. Yep, exactly. Yeah. Don't even people nowadays don't even have to remember how to add 2 plus 2. Let me just grab my calculator real quick. And
Yeah.
sadly, there's some that don't. That will say that is something I would consider to be harmful about today's kids. And I think growing up in their environment of such technologically advanced stuff is they don't know the basics because they don't have to. It's presented like they can figure
Hmm.
it out within 30 seconds within one search rather than memorizing it and knowing it themselves. It's give them 10 seconds, they can look it up. So
Yeah.
they don't know
Yeah.
certain, things, if that makes sense.
It's I saw a meme a couple days ago. It was talking about how if you went back in time like 300 years and you were telling them what the future looked like and they were to ask you how, I couldn't even explain, like, yeah, we have artificial intelligence, we have electricity, we got photo. Oh, can you make it? No, I have no idea how it works.
No, but it's just presented. Um, Gosh, yeah, today's technology is insane, and all I can think about is that it's just continuing to grow and increase. I know I told you to earlier before the podcast, I am not technologically advanced. I choose not to really be. So, I struggled with online courses in college. I
Hmm.
despised them so much. Like, oh my gosh, I need to add a document to my discussion post. I have no idea how to do that, like that type of, yeah, which something I know I need to work on in today's environment for sure, because everything requires that technology
Hmm.
advancement and knowledge. If you would
And
like some.
kind of gone from your perspective, if you're not as tech savvy, self-proclaimed, what are when they say they're talking about like artificial intelligence now and all the science fiction things from like 2010 are now real, like what comes to your what comes to your brain?
First off, like the robots. I mean, I think those are real now, right? They do have real robots, correct?
Hmm.
They're definitely working on those. Oh, when people talk about Chat GPT, so
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest, I have no idea what that is. I feel
Really?
very much out of the loop, but it sounds like it's pretty important because everybody uses it all the time.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh yeah, just use that to make your resume." I'm sorry, what? We're not even making resumes anymore. What's the point of them? What,
I will say I am a avid user. I don't even use Google anymore. I just hop on that thing and I will ask it. It's like magic. I'll just ask a random question. I'll even debate it. Like sometimes when I have like spitball a conversation, like you can have like, hey, here's my opinion on this. Tell me I'm wrong and tell me the examples. And then it's like it'll just throw out everything. Now you can find flaws easy on it, but it's a
uh-huh.
80% accurate. It's still a B. It's awesome, but it's scary that I'll sit there and go, all right, so you're gonna, and if I add 5 years compounded time to this technology, I'm out of a job. You know, it's
Right. Oh
nuts.
my golly. See, now you have me curious, and I'm going to have to. Now, can I just Google this? Chat GPT? Is that correct? Can I just
You,
Google
I,
that?
I, you could do that. I have the app. I just download that app.
Oh, there's an app. Okay.
You know,
I
yeah,
didn't
like
even
everything
realize
in
it was an
life.
app. So I've clearly got a lot to learn on there. So I will say, as millennials, that's something we do have a good upper hand on. Is we are the one generation that knew how to be successful without technology and are still fairly fluent in technology. Most of us, obviously, I'm not a good example, but you know, um,
I
like
was
in
going to say, I think you might be the most fluent without technology because I've gotten to a point where I've like pacified my entire life because I just have all this technology now. Like, I don't need to do this. I don't need to learn these things. I'm just as bad as the kids at school.
well, and that though, kids definitely. I remember before my son started pre-K, my oldest son, who's 8, before he started
Hmm.
pre-K, I was concerned, and I discussed with his father. I'm really worried that he actually might need to know how to use a tablet and stuff to be on the same level and advantage as the other kids because I have a feeling that they're going to be using it. Like, no, I
Hmm.
didn't want him using a tablet. I know I spoke to you before and was saying like the tablet use with my kids is a
Yeah.
rare thing. I'm one of those moms actually kind of going off subject a little bit and that when we go to restaurants and stuff, there's no tablet use. We're crayons and toys kind of parents. And I'm definitely not saying either way is right, wrong, or indifferent because trust me,
Yeah.
there are plenty of times that I wish I could just hand him a tablet, but I wanted to
Hmm.
stick to that. I gave in to plenty of other things that I said I was going to do parenting wise. So that was one I wanted to stick to. And again, I don't think it's right, wrong, or indifferent, anyways, in today's environment, especially. But
Hmm.
that's just our personal thing. But I was concerned, like, should we be introducing him into this technology? Is it going to put him at a disadvantage? Because sure enough, they ended up having to need to know how to use the tablet and laptop, especially because when my oldest started pre-K, it was during COVID lockdown. So they were doing virtual learning and stuff. And it was just like, oh, okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
definitely a necessity, I think, for kids nowadays.
My had the tables turned. God forbid you have a cell phone in school back in our day, you get that thing taken away and you don't see that till next Tuesday.
When your
But
mom
now
can
they're
come pick
just
it up, yeah.
they could literally steal from you.
You'd be a week without that thing because your mom would be like, I can't get off work to come get it. Okay, awesome.
Can
All
you
because he
imagine
can
someone
take it
doing that
between
today?
classes. I'm sure they don't. I guess they don't anymore. I'm assuming.
Yeah. I don't
I'm
think they do. I was just saying, can you imagine doing that today? That kid, the teacher would be all over the internet. They'd be filming them as they're trying to take it. It'd be all over
Oh
the
gosh,
place.
yeah, going viral. And yes, I'm not trying to bash kids' interactions and behaviors either, but turning the teacher into the villain because they're asking them to put their phone up, and it's like, really? Oh my golly, you just wait until you have to wait until your mom picking it up, like you said, next Tuesday, if she
Absolutely.
decides to pick it up then.
Yeah. If she can get off work, if she can.
Because if not, you're without it
Yeah.
for good, basically, till the end of the school year. At that point,
That's
um,
hilarious.
I personally remember I was a victim of having my phone taken for checking it like at my locker or something between
Hmm.
classes because you remember back then I think some people had unlimited texting, but most of us didn't. So it's
Yeah.
not like we were texting because goodness forbid you did that. Mama would be mad having to pay 49 cents a text. So you did not text
Yes.
either.
I remember getting in trouble. I was just sitting there in class and I wasn't even on my phone. It just rang because I didn't like put it on vibrate. And the
Uh,
teacher was like, all right, give me that. And I was like, I'm not even on my phone. It's just ring. And she was like, give
right.
it to me. You're not supposed to have that. Like, I remember my mom just threw the biggest fit and was like, why are you stealing that? You don't get to
Right,
take
because
that.
why can't you have it if you're not on it exactly?
Yeah.
And then nowadays, it's a staple for kids to have it and parents to
Hmm.
say, my kids need this phone for safety concerns and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, I definitely think, especially like in high school, which is the age obviously you were in and we were in, that
Hmm.
is a big necessity and factor at that point. You know, you got to contact your parents. It's not, you can't always depend on every teacher and coach to wait for you to call mom or something like that. So, but yeah, like you said, now definitely can't imagine a teacher taking it. Oh my golly, I taught fourth grade 2 or 3 years ago. I taught fourth grade at Ramsey Elementary. Half of my kids had cell phones in fourth grade.
That's
Insane.
crazy. I believe it, but it's kind of funny. The time has changed.
Nicer phones than me. Now, again, granted, I'm not a big technological person, so you know, I obviously don't have the latest Android because I'm an Androider.
Ooh, okay.
But you know, you've got these 9-year-olds who've come in on Christmas, like, look what I got for Christmas, the newest iPhone. What in the world for? And imagine me taking that, because there were a few times I did take it, mainly to scare them, you know, because like you said, not to keep it until next Tuesday when their mom can come pick it up, but to keep it for the remainder of the day. But, you know, now, kids nowadays too, where you can't take it, it's my property. It's like, oh my God, dude, then just put it up. Like, just don't be on it.
Yeah.
I don't know why you have it. Your mom you're a car rider. You don't need to contact her.
You don't need to be on TikTok and getting brain rot right now. We're just in class.
Not now. Give it some time till you get home. But yes, the amount of kids now and the ages get younger and younger. And I think building off of that, you know, my son, he's 9, and he's asked me, you know, oh, when can I have a phone? And I'm like, not anytime soon. Don't get ahead of yourself, dude. Unless you're playing a sport where you are being left without one of your parents there with you. At this point, you don't need, you know, you don't need one. You know, you're a car rider too. You're not ever without adult supervision. First off,
say that's similar to how my mom was. It was you're going to soccer. That's it. Like what? That's all you need it for. Other than that, you don't.
Exactly.
You don't need this phone.
Yes, that's how I believe. And again, he's only 9. We did end up trying the I can't remember what it's called. If it's called Gab or Gabe Smart Watch, the kids watch. It's like it has a cell phone number attached to it, but you can only add a certain amount of contacts. So I think he had like 4 in there. So mom, dad, maybe his grandparents. That
kids are walking around with beepers.
Basically, that's what it was. But well, he also had it set to where he couldn't be on it during school hours. But we tried it because mom and dad are in different households and stuff like that. And it ended up not even sticking. Like, he wasn't keeping up with it, you know, wasn't really interested in it. That was more so his dad wanting to try that out. But yeah, definitely didn't go. It went as bad as I expected. You know, it just wasn't, it's not the right time. Not of age yet. We're not there yet. So, yeah, just like you said.
Well, Jeni, this has been a great reunion. Thank you again for coming on. Hopefully this has been enjoyable.
Yeah, it was. Thank you so much again for having me. I'm sorry it was loud and a lot going on, but you know, like you said, that is part of this adulthood.
Absolutely. Guys, that was Jeni Strickland. This is the Cooler Conversations podcast. If you're, just new to the podcast, leave a review. If you're not so new, same as always, on to the next one. This is the Western Alamance High School Reunion Senior Superlative show. Guys, I'll catch you later.